So what's good, y'all? We back with another video. And as we all know, the Chicago Bulls season, unfortunately for them, ended yesterday against the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 5 in the first round. And, even with Chris Middleton going down in Game 2, nothing really stopped the Bucks from winning this series. Giannis was going crazy. The Bulls lost Zach LaVine for Game 5. And they just couldn't really get anything going in Games 3 and 4 to even have a chance to beat Milwaukee. So season unfortunately ended, but I still think that it is safe to say, even despite the second half of the season struggles for this team, that they had a successful season and they took a step in the right direction as a team, but not only as a team, as an organization. And like I said in the title, the question remains now for this team is what's next for them in the offseason? How can they improve this team for, the next season that they can potentially become a title contender? They're not that far. They're knocking on the door. They're right there. They just need a few more pieces for me to say that they have a shot to make some noise, some major noise next season. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the positives, talk about some negatives that went on this season. Let's reflect, and let's also talk about what they can add to make next season's team better. So starting off with the positives, the improvement of Lonzo Ball and also the star duo of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan was probably the biggest things in my opinion. Lonzo Ball looked really good. They signed him to that contract, and he proved to be an important piece. Lockdown defender, knockdown shooter from three, a good playmaker for them. And when he went down, things started kind of unravel for them. So it proved that the signing was actually a W. You look at Alex Caruso, another big signing for them. They hit on that as well. A great defender for them, comes off the bench, provides everything that they need him to do, does his job well. You got Ayo Dosunmu, who they drafted, second round pick, looks really good for a second round pick, has some good potential. And like I said before, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine played like an all-star all season. DeMar DeRozan, who some said was a bad signing for this Bulls team, proved to be one of the best, if not the best signing of the offseason, because him and Zach LaVine were a top 5 duo in the game all season. Both guys averaged over 25 points per game, and DeRozan, who played the best ball of his career this year, was an unlikely MVP candidate, finished top 5 in my book. There were many other positives as well, but there were also some negatives with this team, and that was especially in the second half of the season when Chicago finished 8-15 after the All-Star break. And I like the roster, but there's not a lot of defensive personnel on this team outside of Zoe, Caruso, Patrick Williams, and Ayo Dosunmu. Not really much there, especially at the 5 spot, because Nikola Vucevic is not a defensive big at all. They try to get backup help, bringing in Tristan Thompson and mid-season, but never really helped much. They always had that issue rebounding the ball, blocking shots, just not a good interior team on defense. And that's something that they're going to need to improve on if they want to get better. That's a major hole they're going to need to fill for next season. Another major hole they're going to need to fill is also the depth on the roster, because outside of the starting 5, they didn't really have much scoring options to go to outside of probably Kobe White, who averaged 13 points per game. Not really much to go to as a scoring option. I like Ayo Dosunmu and Alex Caruso, but those guys are not scorers like that. You know what I mean? They finished 29th in bench points per game. And that's probably the main thing that's going to need to be addressed, because I said this all season, even when they were rolling. I said if they don't fix that bench issue during the trade deadline, they're probably not going to make much noise. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't address it during the trade deadline. Didn't do anything in the buyout market because there wasn't really much to look for. And they got bumped pretty early because that was a big reason. But that's one of the main things. That's the main thing in my opinion. But this is another side thing that Chicago needs to worry about, the front office, and that is the Lonzo Ball situation, because yes, he is a good player and he's still in a good contract. I'm not going to say he's on a bad contract or anything like that, but the injuries are concerning for Lonzo. He got injured in LA multiple times. He got injured in New Orleans, I think multiple times. I know he was out last season for a few games. And now he got hurt in Chicago with a torn meniscus and basically was out from January to the end of the season. Never saw him again. And that's when their season started to kind of unravel. The Bulls did take a major step in the right direction, but I still would like for them to evaluate Lonzo Ball's, injury problems. See if they can try to control it. See if they can try to make sure it doesn't happen as frequent, because it happens. It's been happening a lot, especially in the more recent years. But like I said, shout out to the Bulls front office. Did some good moves, and it's still early in their tenure. Still early. It's not like they've been there for, 6-7 years. They haven't been there that long, and they've made some major improvements. But I got some targets in mind that I think would make this Bulls team better for next season. Starting off with Mitchell Robinson, who I said in a previous Bulls video would be a great fit, probably a perfect fit for this team. He had a career best season for the Knicks, and he would be the perfect fit as a backup big for Chicago next season. They got the cap space to do it. And, maybe they can even try this. Maybe they can try to trade Vucevic, who was pretty up and down this season. He's getting old. He's still like 32, 33 years old, but he's getting to that age, and also he's not defensive big at all. So, and if he's not going to give you the offensive game on a consistent level, then it gets pretty useless in my opinion. Maybe they can move on from him, try to get some depth on the bench, and then try to sign Mitchell Robinson to be the starting center for next season. I think that would be like the more ideal situation if they were trying to do that and trying to make the team better on the defensive end especially. I think that would be the best option. Also, obviously they didn't make sure that they signed Zach LaVine, and don't even come close to losing him, because without him, the whole plan obviously collapses, and then the team basically goes from playoff team to lottery team, even if DeRozan is still there. It pretty much folds right there if they lose him. But that's probably the main thing. Obviously, keep Zach LaVine, which I think they will, especially with the success they had this year, something he's never had in his career. He's never even been to the playoffs up until this season. Got a taste of that. He knows what it feels like. He's going to get his surgery, and maybe he's going to bounce back. Him and DeRozan probably will have a similar kind of season, stat-wise. And hopefully, if you're a Bulls fan, they can contend. They're still a couple of moves away from moving up to that title contender tier next year. And I'm just interested to see what happens in their offseason, if they can make that jump and not fold in the second half of next year and probably be a title team in the Eastern Conference. But anyways, that's going to do it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Link will be down in the description below. This has been a checkup where we talk hoops and hoops only. And I'll see y'all in the next video next week. Peace.